I want to move on to LeBron James, who is not a fan of all the speculation about changing the playoff format to just seed teams 1 through 16 instead of by conference. Here is what he said yesterday. Take a listen.
I mean, I would disagree with that. I think our league has been built the right way as far as when it comes to the postseason. It just changes the landscape of the history of the game. If you start messing with seedings at playoffs, then you start talking about, well, if this team would have played this Western Conference team, what he would have, so it's cool to mess around with an all-star game. We can, and we proved that you could do that, but let's not get too crazy about the playoffs.
You know what, I actually don't agree, because the league has been full of changes over the years. If you remember when, if you won your division, you had automatically a #1 seed or home court advantage in the first round. But listen to this. How many times have we said, this Western Conference Finals or this Eastern Conference Finals is the championship matchup? Like, for instance, this year, Golden State and Houston are clearly the two best teams. Now, why wouldn't you want to see them in the finals? I mean, if they're the two best teams, of course you want LeBron and Cleveland in the Eastern, Western, but, as time goes along, as evolution of the game continues to grow, I can see this happening.
I agree with Paul, but I like the fact when the teams like Golden State and Houston, they have to play each other. And they could not meet in the Western Conference Final and have to battle. So I like the battle of the strength between the East and the West. I love the different styles of play, because you're going to run into two different type of matchup when you're talking about playing in the finals, East and West. And I think when you go with two Western Conference teams, you're going to have that same type of up and down game. So I kind of like the mixture of play. I see the East Coast as being more that grind, half-court execution, whereas the West is more of an up and down style game. So I'm a fan more of the East.
But like, say like Toronto gets to the finals, and you're like, Toronto beats Cleveland, gets to the finals, or Boston, whoever. You're going to say Houston and Golden State was the championship, really. Like, think about that. Even in other sports, you say that.
Right.
Like, when you see two great teams playing before the finals, you're like, this is really the championship. So, who knows?
But I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to take away a team that's been battling for 8 years to try to knock LeBron off of the playoff.
And
finally get there.
Yeah, finally get there. You're like, no, everything's been changed now.
There's also something, and when he talks about the history of the game, you do think about, again, I'm thinking about your Bulls-Pistons matchups. That idea that you guys had to get over them to get to the finals was such a seminal thing, right? When you finally did it, it was,
Like LeBron had to get over the Celtics.
The Celtics,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I love the fact that the East and the West have to come and just go at it. And I'm going to always be an East Coast player, even though I played on the West. And I'm sure Paul feels the same way, that he's more of an East Coast player, even though he finished his career.